Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hello.
It's Renee and Amy. This is Amy. This is Renee. This is the inside joke. I'll tell you about it later.
Do I know about this?
No. It only happened yesterday.
Okay.
So Amy and I are really good friends, and she has started her journey within the Pilates space, specifically in Reformer, and thought we'd have a little chat about what your journey was like. Anyone who's watching who might be new to Reformer or who wants to experience Reformer, or maybe you're an instructor that just wants to get a glimpse of how it feels to be a newbie again. We've all been there, but maybe we're not there anymore and we kind of forget about it. So I've just got a few questions, and I think we're going to let the conversation flow and see where it goes.
Love it.
First question, what is your background in fitness?
My background in fitness, I've always been a sporty person, always been so sporty. I was more in the kind of like, I don't know, like artistic-y kind of things. Like I did gymnastics, I did dance, I did cheerleading. And then at school did the classic like netball rounders, things like that. So I've always been sporty, always been really competitive. And then I feel like as I've got older, my what's the word? Like my participation in my participation in sport has gone like off a cliff. Oh, I did tag rugby as well. Still kind of do tag rugby whenever I go back to London. Shout out to you guys, love you.
Right. So you've done dance, artistic sport, to tag rugby, to being competitive. What do you mean you're competitive?
Not when Renee's around, because she'll always beat me, so I'm not even going to try. Actually, there was one time when we were doing like, it was like a grid class or something. We were on the ski erg, and I did more meters than Renee did, and she literally was like, and then went double time to try and beat me. But
yeah,
I won. So
okay, we'll give you that. We'll give you that. Okay, so you've had some experience in fitness, but when you said it jumped off a cliff, like, what do you mean by that?
I feel like as you get older, you just have less time. It's kind of less available, I would say. There's maybe more of a cost associated to it. Yeah, but I think time's probably the biggest thing. Like I probably allowed less time for myself to enjoy that kind of stuff. But I still try to like go to the gym, still try to do a team sport. It's a good way to make friends, meet people, especially in a new country. Yeah.
Just a background, her and I moved to Singapore at the same time, pretty much like a week apart from each other, which was 2.5 years ago. And we've lived together ever since.
We had the joy of meeting in a co-living space, and we were, 6 people? And then, like, luckily, 3 of us really got along, and then the other 3 kind of you just never saw. And then, yeah, we just decided to get a 2-bed together, and we've been moving around Singapore since.
We always joke who's the husband and who's the wife in this relationship.
I'm the husband. I go off to work every day, come home, like, honey, I'm home, and then sometimes dinner's on the table.
I'm the wife that teaches Pilates, so hence the Pilates chats. Back into, you getting
just getting into more of our lifestyle.
People want to know. People want to know. So back to talking about like lifestyle, how did you get back into the swing of things in terms of like your fitness, your wellness?
Yeah, so a big part of it was trying to make friends. So like going to classes where you see people regularly is like a good start for me. Obviously, you were a big influence in that. Like you know what, maybe I'm just really easily persuaded, because you got me to do jiu-jitsu, which I never would have done otherwise. So we did jiu-jitsu for a bit, and then got more into Reformer. So obviously Renee, Reformer teacher extraordinaire, I wanted to go to one of her classes, and then we finally made that happen. And I'd always seen Reformer as something that wasn't really accessible to me. I think because coming from the UK, a lot of Reformer places, or places that offer Reformer, you have to pay extra. So if you have a gym membership, you can go to the gym, but you have to pay to do the Reformer classes.
Yeah.
So I would just never do that. And then I would be like walking down the high street in London, and there was this, I remember specifically that there's this one place that has, it was ground floor, big window into the Reformer studio.
Nice.
And it just looked like super boutique, looked super expensive. And I just never really thought that was something that I would pay to do.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, I just didn't think it was like for me. And then coming here where Reformer is actually included in our Virgin Active gym membership.
Yep.
I was like, oh, great. Like, I definitely want to give that a go. And then with you there to kind of like give me the push and stuff made it super easy.
Miss Persuasive over here. What did you know about Pilates before you got into it? Like you said, you walked past the windows and you saw these big machines. What was your exposure to any type of Pilates before that?
So I'd done mat classes before.
Yep.
Never done like a hot mat or anything like that. Just the standard mat. I'd done yoga before. So I think I had a pretty good grasp on what that was. But the Reformer side always looks super fun. Like, I love kind of like something that incorporates a bit of like flexibility, stability, like endurance as well.
Yeah.
So I definitely wanted to give it a go. But I literally had no idea how to use a Reformer. It looks so confusing.
So you had exposure to mat. And what was that like? How did you get into it?
Again, just signing up to classes.
Okay, so it was like a group mat class.
Yeah, group mat classes. During lockdown, actually, I would do Pilates at home, just like YouTube videos. I have like old videos on my phone of me doing these, like, you know, when you put the sped up version thing.
The like 1.5 speed.
Yeah. So I was doing that, and then I've got videos of me like trying to do handstands and headstands and stuff because I was just so bored. I was like stuck in a flat in London. So yeah, I was doing that during lockdown, and then just going to classes with friends.
Yep. Okay. Then when you saw these big machines, other than, okay, it's not very accessible because you had to pay extra in a membership, what were your first thoughts on this contraption? Because I know that something like this can be quite intimidating if no one's ever been on one before. What did you think?
So I went in there having, no idea how to use it apart from having seen like some videos on Instagram, but none of them really taught you what the names of the things were or like actually how to use it and what it's for. So I really was just fully relying on the instructor taking the time to teach me as a newbie.
Yeah.
Which thank God they did.
And how big would your first Reformer class was with me?
I actually don't think it was. I think we went together to somebody else's class.
Yes, we did.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember who it was. Yes, we did go to a class together. And yeah, you absolutely smashed it. You were just doing the thing, and I had no idea what to expect. Like, I've seen her do sport, and we'd go out and do activities. I didn't know how you would take to the Reformer bed and I'm
very talented.
She was very talented. Okay, so you had no idea how the piece of equipment worked. And what advice would you give to someone if they've never been exposed to it and really want to attend a class, but they might have this hesitancy or fear or intimidation towards this like massive piece of equipment in a Reformer Pilates setting? What would you think people can do to like ease that fear and make them feel a little bit more confident before stepping into the studio?
Honestly, I think it's probably just the confidence kind of part of it, because you don't need to know a lot, because there's going to be skilled instructors there to like help you through it. They're going to be so used to having newbies in the class. But if you really want to kind of give yourself a bit of confidence, I'd probably say go on like YouTube and literally just have like a 5-minute video of someone explaining all the parts of the Reformer and what the names are and how you use them. Yeah, because there's actually so many parts to it. And you're not going to cover all of them in one class, especially not your first class, but just knowing the names. Like if someone mentions like the foot bar, is that, or now I'm going to forget the bloody name for it. What's the
gear bar?
No, the slat that you stand on, not the bed.
The extender.
The extender, yeah. Like what the hell is an extender?
Yeah. You're like, does it extend something? Do I step on it? And does it automatically like get longer?
Stand on the extender. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So kind of stuff like that.
So a reformer is a spring-loaded contraption where the springs can dictate the weight or resistance when doing a particular exercise. It can either like assist or make something harder in terms of like the spring loads that you choose. How did you get used to, actually, before I ask that question, how do you feel your skill level is now when you go to a class, in the sense of, if an instructor gives you something that you might find a little bit more challenging, do you know how to adapt? Are you really familiar with the springs? How well do you feel like you can self-modify?
I think I'll probably do it in two sections. So movement-wise, I do rely on the instructor giving the progressions.
Okay.
So if I'm doing something super easy, I personally wouldn't progress it myself.
Right.
I would wait and maybe like let the instructor offer it.
Chill for a little bit.
I'm a chill, like if they're not going to push me, then I'm fine. I'll just carry on doing what they're asking.
Her favorite exercise is
feet in straps.
Lying down on the reformer. So good.
And then spring wise, I think if you left me to my own devices, I would just need to do a bit of trial and error. Again, I'm relying on the instructor to tell me what springs to put on. But if I feel like I want to go heavier, then I'll go heavier. But I think I've come a long way. Like I find now that I can do everything, and I am looking towards those more advanced movements.
How long do you think it took you to develop, let's just say, confidence, before we go into like what that confidence means? But how long did it take for you to have confidence to just like walk in the studio without any of those nerves or that sense of, maybe I don't really belong here because I don't know what I'm doing kind of feeling?
Not long. I think maybe like 5 classes.
5? Okay.
5 classes. I got the gist of it after one, go back to another one, put that into practice, put what you learn into practice, get used to it. You're trying new things every class as well. So it's not like you're doing the same thing over and over again. You can get good at it super quickly. But yeah, I think maybe 4 or 5 classes. And I was like, I can do this.
And then you said you'd love to advance into more complex movements. How long do you feel like it took you to be ready to take that step where I'm like, I want a more challenging style of class?
How long did it take me? God, I would probably say maybe like 6 months, maybe.
And it's very subjective, right? It's like, how many times a week are you going? What type of classes are your preferences? Do you like more of like a slower pace, recovery, stretch, mobility, or are you looking for something that's a little bit more fast paced? Like we know that Pilates Reformer particularly has evolved quite a bit from your contrology movement, which is basically like the traditional Pilates that Joseph Pilates invented, and those sequence of movements that flowed from one movement to another, to now, like you see functional exercises thrown in, you see bursts of cardio, you see bursts of cardio coming in through the program, right? It might not be a Pilates exercise, but the purpose there is like your overall fitness level being jam-packed in a class. When it comes to your favorite style of class, does that vary? What is it? And like, where do you see yourself next in your Pilates journey?
Good question. So I love a routine. So my current routine is mornings, like high energy, athletic reformer classes. And then if I were to do something in the evening, it would be more chill, maybe like an align, a recovery, a stretch. And then with the more advanced stuff, it's probably like a one-off, maybe like a once a week, not every week kind of thing, if I mean, I don't know, a Virgin like going to offer specific classes like that, or
Yeah,
like,
we are planning something special in the pipeline. So if you're ever in Singapore, that's where I teach. We'd love to see you there. Well, currently, who knows when that's going to change. Knowing me, I'm like, oh, where's the next country I'm going to live in? But right now, I've got my husband here, so I'm not going anywhere
you're not
anytime
allowed to leave.
And when you look at what makes a good class, what do you value in a Reformer Pilates class, whether that's like upbeat, fast pace, slow pace recovery? Like, what are the top things that you say make up an incredible experience for you?
For me, a lot of it is kind of driven from the instructor themselves. If I walk into a class and someone's really kind of like they're giving off down vibes, they're not in a happy mood, they're not that receptive, it automatically puts you in the same mood.
100%.
So I want like a enthusiastic instructor. You can tell they love what they're doing, and then it doesn't matter what kind of class they're doing, because I'll be in the different mood for a different class when depending on what day of the week it is.
Yeah, as long as they're teaching that specific style that you've decided to book into, right?
Yeah. And maybe just variety around the bed. I don't want to kind of be laying on, as much as I love laying on the bed, I don't want to be laying on the bed the entire time. And one good thing about your classes, and I never know how you do it, is you do it like a clock. Like you'll start with stuff. It makes so much sense. Like you start with stuff on the left side, move to the middle, front, back, right. But I just don't know how you remember what you've done. Even I'm like, fuck, left, right, left leg, right leg. Is it knees? Is it skaters? Is it what? What the hell? And she's just like,
I've got a system. A system is in here, and I'll share some of those tips in the future.
Again, I rely so much on the instructor.
And look, sometimes when I do forget things, members or like, people in the class will be like, your other side, your scooter. And I was like, yeah, got it. And I still can have that skill where I'm like weaving into it in a fluid setting where we're not like stopping the whole flow and then going back to that thing.
Yeah, which is nice, right? When you have that relationship with your members, the regulars that are coming back. And
totally.
They can do that, and then it's just flow. It's not like, excuse me, it's actually right leg.
Yeah. They're just like, they'll giggle, they'll have a little laugh, and they know that, they know that they're here because they like the instructor. Like you said, the instructor plays such a massive part of that experience. You can have the best program. However, if it's not delivered in a way that is high, like good energy, that is an open level where you're reading the room and you can adapt what you have in your mind to suit the people in front. Like a lot of the time I tell instructors, we coach for the members, not for our egos. Like you come into the studio, you might go, I've got these mind-blowing exercises that I want to throw in that are like really fun, really complicated. And then you get to class and you realize the warm-up, half the people are not really getting the basics. Then that plan goes out the window. You're not going to teach those exercises. You're going to adapt. And I think that's one of the hardest things when you first start off your career as a Pilates instructor is you have to fail and fail fast to learn quick. That's what I think is like a really important aspect of a Pilates instructor's journey. Where do you see yourself next in your Pilates journey?
I know what your answer you would want me to answer. She really wants me to do my Pilates, become an instructor.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe if I have more time on my hands. Again, it's a time thing.
I mean, I think a lot of people do their Pilates teacher cert for different things, but I think that's also based on like me chatting to people from different countries. For example, like I talked to a lot of Singaporeans. They tell me, oh, I want to do my Pilates teacher training because I want to know more about Pilates and I want to gain my own knowledge. But I'm like, if you're doing your Pilates teacher training, it's a Pilates teacher training. It teaches you how to be a Pilates teacher. It doesn't teach you about how you should move your body and work with your ability. If that's something that you want to do, you find a mentor, or you have like one-to-one sessions with someone who knows your goals. It's like having a PT. It's like, I want a PT that keeps me accountable for my fitness journey, not going, I'm going to certify myself to be a PT so then I can program my own stuff. Like that's just my point of view. And that's very different. I think becoming a Pilates instructor or doing your cert, it's not for you, it's for other people.
It's a service.
It's a service. Like, this is why I really just say this a lot, but I'm so lucky to be doing something that I really, really love. And I fell into Pilates in a way that wasn't really expected.
How did you get into it?
Okay. So I used to be a PT. I started off like, I was very into fitness as a kid and moved to Australia. Office job was not my thing. Like, I just felt like my soul was being drained. So I decided to do my PT cert. One of my friends was like, hey, I'm back in the corporate world. I have 5 of these PT clients that I can't manage anymore. Do you want to take them on? Because I know you're finishing your PT cert. Back then, I haven't finished my PT cert, but I was like, you know what? When am I going to get like 5 clients dumped on my table and go, here, take this. This is business. This is money for you. And I just said yes. I was like, it's a risk. Like, if I'm training these people, something happens, you know, I don't have my cert, but the chances of that happening, very minimal, right? So I decided to just take on these clients, and I still had my day job. So I'd hike to Hyde Park with my...
Were you still training for the cert? Or
I was still training to be to get my PT certification. So I wasn't a certified PT yet.
Right. But you didn't just sack off the cert and you were like, great, I've got clients now.
No, I still finished my cert. I think it was like maybe 2 months away from finishing my cert, like depending on my self-study pace. And I was like, great, these can be like my case studies or like guinea pigs and practice. But these were just everyday people that had an office job that just wanted to move. And I was like, I can do this. So I would lug a 35-kilo backpack to Hyde Park at like 5:30 in the morning before I started work, train like 3 people twice a week, 3 times a week, then go to the office, start my corporate job, and then in the evening lug the stuff back. I mean, I could have left it in an office, but I was like, you just never know when you need it and someone changes location or whatever. So that's how it started. Then I finished my PT cert. Then I joined a gym, worked there as a PT for many, many years. But 2 years into my PT cert, into my PT job, I became like one of the top PTs delivering the most sessions. And I had one guy that was like on par with me in terms of like session delivery. And I've done like 1 or 2 reformer classes. The first reformer class I went to, the instructor was terrible. Like, I had a very bad experience in reformer.
Really?
Yeah, she was like not friendly, very sassy, just like your typical, oh no, you're doing it wrong. And I was like, well, my first time, like, relax.
Perfect way to put someone off.
Yeah, and some instructors forget, like, this is your one opportunity. Like, someone could experience your class and you can completely ruin someone's vibe towards Pilates or movement in general forever. Which I always like just try to remind myself, even on days where it's really hard and I'm tired and like there's other things going on in my life, but I always remember that this person is here for your class and you don't know what's going on in their life and they're here for a good experience. So don't your behavior makes or breaks that experience. And I always try to remember that. So this guy was like on par with me in session delivery. And my second Pilates class, I had this beautiful instructor with like the best energy, and she was a hottie. Like, she was the babe, very friendly, knew how to work the crowd, knew how to like draw that energy out of every single person, regardless of like their level or their mood of that day. This person till this day is like one of my best friends, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. She's like, now she was my mentor, and now we just talk shop about Pilates and anything about life. But yeah, she was a very important person in my Pilates journey. So I did her class and I was like, you know what? I could do this. It'll open my pool of clients. It will broaden my pool of clients and allow me to have another skill. And I know that Pilates Reformer at the time was booming. And the guy who was on par with me in terms of delivery told me he's going to do his Pilates cert. And I was like, well, then that means he might beat me in how many sessions he offers and how many sessions he does. And the leaderboard, I'm going to drop down. I was like, I'm going to do it too. To be fair, I have thought about it, but I didn't have a car at the time and he did. And he lived near me. So he's like, oh yeah, if you do it, we can drive there together. I was like, great. Carpool opportunity. Opportunity to stay on top of the leaderboard. I'm down.
Sign me up. Classic.
So that's when I decided to do my Reformer. Before that, I did a mat certification and that teacher training was awful. It wasn't a great mat teacher experience. But the way that I gained experience was teaching people and going to classes. Then I brought in my skill set to Reformer. And that is how I decided to take on Reformer because I didn't want to drop down at the top of the podium on the leaderboard.
And look where we are now.
Look where we are. I moved to Singapore with my career, found my bestie. Yeah, that's where we're at.
Love that.
Okay, so to wrap up this chat, just to summarize, if anyone has thought of experiencing Pilates Reformer or wants to get on the bed, your tip to them is just do the thing, build confidence.
Just jump right in. Yeah. Give yourself a little bit of background if you need it, but go for it. Rely on the instructors. Usually they'll be great and you'll have a good time.
So we'll see you in the studio. If not, we'd love to hear your story on how you've developed through your Pilates journey, or if there's anything you want us to chat about. You know, we've got two different perspectives.
It's very different perspective.
So we're here for you, and we hope to